Opening the footage. What you're about to see is real. I need you to understand that before we go any further. This isn't Hollywood. This isn't special effects or acting. This is documented evidence of something that science cannot explain. Something that challenges everything we think we know about the nature of reality. My name is Father Michael Torres. I've been a Catholic priest for 23 years. For the last 15 of those years, I've specialized in cases of suspected demonic possession. I've investigated over 200 cases. Most of them had rational explanations: mental illness, trauma, chemical imbalances. But 7 cases were different. 7 cases where I witnessed things that defied natural law. Things that convinced me, beyond any shadow of doubt, that demonic entities are real. The case I'm about to share with you is the most disturbing I've ever encountered. Not because of the violence, though there was violence. Not because of the duration, though it lasted for months. But because, for the first time in my career, we captured it on camera. Every stage, every manifestation, every terrifying moment. The footage you're about to see shows the possession and exorcism of a 19-year-old college student named Sarah Mitchell. With her family's permission, and after years of legal review, we're sharing this footage with the world. Why? Because people need to know. They need to understand that evil is real, that it's not metaphorical or symbolic. It's literal, it's conscious, and it wants to destroy us. Before we begin, I need to warn you. This footage is disturbing. If you're sensitive to graphic content, religious themes, or psychological horror, you should stop watching now. For those who continue, understand this. What happened to Sarah Mitchell can happen to anyone. Possession doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about your beliefs, your background, or your faith. All it needs is an opening, an invitation, a moment of weakness. This is her story. This is what we witnessed. This is what the camera captured. Part 1: How it started. I first received a call about Sarah Mitchell in October 2023. Her mother, Catherine, contacted the diocese asking for help. Her daughter had been experiencing disturbing symptoms for 3 weeks, and doctors couldn't find anything physically wrong. I get calls like this frequently. Most of the time, it's not possession. It's usually mental health issues that need medical attention, not spiritual intervention. So I approach every case with healthy skepticism. But Catherine described symptoms that caught my attention. Her daughter speaking languages she'd never learned, knowing things she couldn't possibly know, violent reactions to religious objects, and most concerning, multiple personalities, each claiming to be something inhuman. I agreed to meet with the family. I needed to see Sarah myself, to assess whether this was genuine possession or something else. The Mitchell family lived in a comfortable suburban home, upper middle class. Father was an accountant, mother was a teacher. Sarah was their only child. By all accounts, a normal, healthy family. When I arrived, Catherine was waiting at the door. She looked exhausted, terrified. She led me inside and told me Sarah's story. It started 3 weeks earlier. Sarah was a freshman at the local university, studying psychology. She'd been interested in the occult, nothing unusual for a college student exploring different worldviews. She and some friends had attended a party where someone brought a Ouija board. They'd used it as a joke, asking silly questions, laughing at the responses. But then something changed. The planchette started moving faster, spelling out threats, obscenities. It told Sarah things about her childhood that no one at the party could have known. Sarah's friends thought she was pushing it, playing a prank, but Sarah swore she wasn't. She was scared. She wanted to stop. They didn't properly close the session, didn't say goodbye. They just packed up the board and ended the party. Sarah went home, feeling uneasy but telling herself it was just a game. That night she woke up at 3 a.m. unable to move. Sleep paralysis, she thought. But then she saw it. A figure at the foot of her bed, tall, dark, with eyes that burned like coals. It spoke to her, in a language she didn't recognize, but somehow she understood. It was claiming her, saying she'd invited it in, that she belonged to it now. When she could finally move, the figure was gone. Sarah convinced herself it was a nightmare, stress from school, too much studying. But the next day, things got worse. She started hearing voices, whispers at first, then clear, distinct voices telling her to do terrible things, to hurt herself, to hurt others. She tried to ignore them, tried to focus on her classes, but the voices got louder, more insistent, and then she started losing time. She'd be in her dorm room, and suddenly it would be hours later. She'd be somewhere else with no memory of how she got there. Once, she woke up in the university chapel, covered in scratches, with no idea how they got there. Her roommate noticed the changes. Sarah's personality would shift dramatically. Sometimes she'd be herself. Other times she'd become aggressive, hostile, speaking in a deeper voice, saying things that weren't like her at all. Her parents brought her home, took her to doctors. Psychiatrists suggested dissociative identity disorder, prescribed medications, but nothing helped. The symptoms got worse. Objects in her room would move on their own. Electronics would malfunction. Her phone would call random numbers in the middle of the night, and when people answered, they'd hear screaming. The final straw came when Catherine walked into Sarah's room and found her daughter levitating 3 feet above her bed, speaking fluent Latin. Sarah had never studied Latin. That's when Catherine called the church. As I listened to this story, I recognized the signs. Classic infestation leading to oppression, possibly moving toward possession. But I needed to see Sarah myself, to make my own assessment. Catherine led me upstairs to Sarah's room. She warned me, she's not herself right now. Whatever comes out of her mouth, it's not my daughter speaking. I entered the room. Sarah was sitting on her bed, staring at the wall. When she heard me enter, she turned, and I saw it immediately. Her eyes, they were wrong. Not physically, they looked normal. But there was something behind them, something that wasn't human. She smiled, but it wasn't Sarah's smile. A priest, she said, but the voice was wrong, too deep, too old. How delightful. Come to save the little lamb, have you? I introduced myself, asked if I could speak with Sarah. The thing wearing Sarah's face laughed. Sarah's not here, she's ours now. She invited us in, she belongs to us. I pulled out my crucifix. The reaction was immediate. Sarah, or the entity controlling her, hissed like an animal, recoiled, her face contorted in rage. Put that away, priest, you have no power here. But she couldn't look at it, couldn't even face in my direction as long as I held the crucifix. That's when I knew this wasn't mental illness. This wasn't acting or delusion. This was genuine demonic possession. And I knew we needed to document it for Sarah's sake, for the church's sake, for the world's sake. Because people need to see the truth. Part 2, the investigation. Before any exorcism can be performed, the church requires thorough investigation. We need to rule out all natural explanations, medical, psychological, environmental. I worked with Sarah's doctors, reviewed her medical records. Her brain scans were normal. Blood work was normal. No tumors, no chemical imbalances, no physiological explanation for her symptoms. I consulted with psychiatrists. They diagnosed her with dissociative identity disorder, but they admitted the case was unusual. The alternate personalities were too consistent, too knowledgeable about things Sarah shouldn't know. And there were things that couldn't be explained medically. The speaking in languages she'd never learned, the knowledge of hidden information, the violent physical reactions to blessed objects. I spent 2 weeks observing Sarah, taking notes, praying, and with the family's permission, I installed cameras in her room. 4 cameras, different angles, recording 24 hours a day. The footage we captured during those 2 weeks is extraordinary and terrifying. Footage description: Day 1. The first day of recording showed Sarah as herself. Frightened, confused, she spoke to the camera begging for help. "I can feel them," she said, "inside me, watching through my eyes, waiting." She described the entities. There were 3 of them, she said, 3 distinct presences, each with its own personality, its own agenda. The first one was calculating, intelligent. It spoke multiple languages and claimed to be ancient. It's the one that did most of the talking. The second was violent, rage-filled. It wanted to hurt people, to destroy. Sarah said she could feel it pushing her to do terrible things. The third was the worst. She couldn't describe it well, just said it was old, powerful, and utterly evil. It didn't speak much. But when it did, Sarah said it felt like her soul was being crushed. Footage description: Day 3. Day 3 captured the first clear manifestation. At 3:17 a.m., Sarah sat bolt upright in bed. Her eyes open, but they weren't focused, weren't seeing the room. She spoke, but it wasn't her voice. It was the deep, masculine voice we'd heard before, and it spoke in Aramaic, an ancient language that's been dead for over 1,000 years. I had the audio analyzed by a linguistics expert. He confirmed it was genuine Aramaic, grammatically correct, spoken with the accent of someone from that era. There's no way a modern college student could fake this. The entity was mocking us, saying we had no power, that Sarah had invited them in and they would never leave, that they would use her body until it broke and then they would move on to someone else. After speaking for about 3 minutes, Sarah collapsed back onto the bed. When she woke up hours later, she had no memory of any of it. Footage description: Day 5. Day 5 showed the violence. Catherine had brought Sarah dinner. As Catherine entered the room, Sarah's demeanor changed instantly. The violent entity took control. Sarah attacked her own mother, threw the dinner tray, lunged at Catherine with inhuman strength. It took both Catherine and Sarah's father to restrain her. The entity was screaming obscenities, blasphemies, threats to kill everyone in the house. Its strength was remarkable. Sarah's a small girl, maybe 120 pounds, but it took 2 adults to hold her down. After several minutes, Sarah went limp, started crying, back to herself. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry, I can't control it." Footage description: Day 8. Day 8 captured something that still gives me chills. Sarah was sleeping. The cameras show her lying peacefully in bed. Then at 3:00 a.m. exactly, her body began to rise, not sitting up, rising horizontally, her entire body lifting off the bed. She hovered there 4 feet above the mattress for nearly 3 minutes. The cameras captured it from multiple angles. There's no trick, no wires, no explanation. Her eyes were closed. She appeared to still be asleep, but her lips were moving, whispering something too quiet for the cameras to pick up. Then she dropped, not gently, dropped like the invisible force holding her had simply let go. She woke up screaming with no memory of what had happened. Footage description: Day 11. Day 11 showed knowledge that Sarah couldn't possibly have. I was sitting with her, asking questions, trying to assess the extent of the possession. The intelligent entity took control. It looked at me with Sarah's eyes and started talking about my life, my childhood, events I'd never shared with anyone. It told me about my brother's death when I was 12, details that only I knew, how I blamed myself, my secret guilt that I'd never confessed to anyone. It knew about a crisis of faith I'd had in seminary, a moment of doubt that I'd never told another soul. It described it perfectly, mockingly. "You see, priest, we know you. We know your weaknesses, your fears, your sins. You can't hide from us. You can't fight us. We are legion." Hearing that word legion confirmed my worst fear. This wasn't a single demon. This was multiple entities, a demonic infestation. Footage description: Day 14. The final day of observation captured the most disturbing footage. The third entity, The one Sarah said was the most powerful manifested for the first time. Sarah's body went rigid. Her eyes rolled back until only the whites showed. And when she spoke, the voice was different from the other two. It was layered, multiple voices speaking in perfect unison, and it spoke a language I'd never heard before. When we had it analyzed, experts couldn't identify it. It wasn't any known language, living or dead. The entity's message was clear, even without translation. It was claiming Sarah, marking her as its own, and it challenged us, dared us to try to remove it. When it finished speaking, Sarah's body convulsed. She vomited, but what came out wasn't normal. It was black, thick, smoking slightly as if it was hot. We collected samples, had them analyzed. The substance contained no biological material, no cells, nothing organic. It was unlike anything the lab had ever seen. After 2 weeks of observation and analysis, I reported to the diocese. My conclusion was clear. Sarah Mitchell was suffering from genuine demonic possession. Multiple entities, strong, hostile, and they had no intention of leaving voluntarily. The only option was exorcism. Part 3, PREPRING4 Battle. Exorcism is not like the movies. It's not dramatic Latin prayers and instant results. It's a war, a spiritual war, and it can take days, weeks, even months. The church approved my request to perform the exorcism, but they insisted on precautions. We needed another priest present, a medical professional on standby, and continued documentation. Father David Chen joined me. He's younger than I am, but he has experience with possessions. He's seen what I've seen. He believes as I believe. We spent 3 days in preparation, fasting, praying, purifying ourselves spiritually. In exorcism, the demon will attack the exorcist's faith. It will find your weaknesses, your doubts, your sins. You must be spiritually strong or it will destroy you. We also prepared Sarah's room, removed anything that could be used as a weapon, reinforced the bed so it couldn't be broken, set up additional cameras to capture every angle. Catherine and her husband were warned about what to expect: the violence, the blasphemy, the psychological attacks. We told them their daughter would say terrible things, things designed to hurt them, but those words wouldn't be coming from Sarah. On the morning of the exorcism, I entered Sarah's room. She was awake, or rather, the entities were awake. All 3 of them seemed present, taking turns speaking through her. The intelligent one spoke first. "You're going to try to cast us out, priest. We know. We've been watching you prepare. Did you really think your fasting and prayers would make a difference?" I didn't respond. Engaging with demons is dangerous. Every word gives them power. The violent one took over. Sarah's face twisted in rage. "We'll kill you, priest. We'll tear you apart. We'll make you watch as we destroy everything you love." Still, I didn't respond. I simply began setting up holy water, blessed salt, a crucifix, the ritual Romanum, the official book of exorcism rites. And then the third entity spoke, the powerful one, the voice that sent chills down my spine. "Father Michael Torres, we know you. We have always known you, since you were a child. We were there when your brother died. We whispered in your ear. We planted the guilt. We've been with you your entire life, waiting. And now you come to challenge us." My hands shook, but I continued preparing. "You will fail, priest. You will watch this girl die, and it will be your fault, just like your brother." I took a deep breath, said a silent prayer, and began the exorcism. Part 4, the exorcism begins. Footage description: exorcism day 1, hour 1. The cameras were rolling, every moment captured. This is what the world needs to see. I began with the preliminary prayers, invoking God's protection, blessing the room, blessing Sarah. The demons were quiet at first, almost as if they were amused. But when I started the actual exorcism prayers, the commands for the demons to depart, the reaction was immediate. Sarah's body began to thrash, She screamed, a sound that no human throat should be able to make. It was like multiple voices screaming at once, in agony, in rage. Father Chen and I had to physically restrain her. She was trying to attack us, to hurt herself. Her strength was incredible. It took both of us to keep her on the bed. I continued the prayers, louder, more forceful, commanding the demons in the name of Christ to leave this girl. The intelligent entity spoke, but this time there was fear in its voice, real fear. "Stop, you're hurting us. You have no right." "I have every right," I said. "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to depart." Sarah vomited again, more of that black substance. It burned the carpet where it landed, literally burned it, leaving scorch marks. The violent entity took control. Sarah's face became a mask of pure hatred. "We will never leave. She is ours. We will kill her before we let her go." Sarah's body began to convulse, violently. Her back arched at an impossible angle. I heard bones cracking. Father Chen looked at me in horror. "We need to stop," he said. "She's going to break her spine." But I couldn't stop. If we stopped now, the demons would know they could break us. They would win. I sprinkled holy water on Sarah. The reaction was like throwing acid on her skin. She screamed. Her skin, where the water touched, turned red, blistered. And then the third entity spoke, the powerful one, and when it did, the room itself seemed to shake. "Enough." The word felt like a physical blow. Father Chen and I were thrown backward, not pushed, thrown by an invisible force. We hit the wall hard. Sarah's body rose from the bed, levitating, but this time her eyes were open. Black, completely black, no whites, no iris, just darkness. That voice, those layered voices, speaking that unknown language. The air grew cold, so cold that frost formed on the windows. Our breath came out in thick clouds. I struggled to my feet, grabbed my crucifix, held it towards Sarah. "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to release this girl." Sarah's head turned toward me, rotated all the way around, 360 degrees. The cameras captured it. No trick, no editing. Her head actually rotated. And she smiled, that terrible inhuman smile. "You cannot win, priest. We are ancient, we are powerful, we have broken stronger men than you." I continued the prayers, ignoring the fear, ignoring the doubt, just focusing on the words, the sacred words that have power against evil. And slowly, gradually, Sarah's body descended, back to the bed. Her head rotated back to its normal position. She collapsed, unconscious. Father Chen checked her pulse. She's alive but weak. We'd been at it for 3 hours. It felt like 3 minutes, or 3 days. Time becomes meaningless during exorcism. We took a break, let Sarah rest, let ourselves rest, but we knew this was just the beginning. The demons were strong, stronger than any I'd encountered before. This was going to be a long battle. Part 5, the battle INTNSAFES. The exorcism continued for 3 days. 3 days of hell for Sarah, for her family, for Father Chen and me. Footage description: Day 2. The second day, the demons changed tactics. Instead of violence, they tried psychological warfare. They made Sarah speak in her mother's voice, begging us to stop. "You're hurting me, please stop. I just want this to end." Catherine was outside the room listening. She broke down in tears, but we had to continue. This wasn't Sarah speaking. This was the demons using her voice. Then they revealed secrets, family secrets, things that Catherine and her husband had never told Sarah, infidelities, hidden debts, private shames. The demons were trying to destroy the family's unity, to make them turn against each other, to create the discord and pain that evil feeds on. But the Mitchell family stayed strong. They knew it wasn't their daughter talking. They held onto their faith, their love for each other, their love for Sarah. When the psychological attacks didn't work, the demons returned to violence. But this time, it was directed inward. Sarah began to self-harm, scratching at her own face, pulling her hair out in clumps, trying to bite her own arms. We had to restrain her, tie her to the bed. It was horrible, necessary but horrible. The cameras captured all of it. Sarah's face covered in scratches, her eyes wild, her mouth forming words in languages that shouldn't exist. Footage description: Day 3, morning. By the third day, Sarah's body was failing. She hadn't eaten in days, could barely drink water. Her weight had dropped dangerously. The medical professional on standby wanted to hospitalize her. But I knew we were close. The demons were weakening. Each prayer session they fought less, screamed less. Their hold was slipping. On the morning of Day 3, I began the prayers again. And this time, something was different. The intelligent entity spoke, but its voice was weak, tired. "Please stop, let us stay. We have nowhere else to go." It was trying to manipulate me, to create sympathy, but I wouldn't fall for it. "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to depart. Leave this girl, return to the abyss." The violent entity responded, but even its rage sounded diminished. "We'll be back, we'll find another. You can't stop us forever." And then the third entity spoke, the powerful one. But this time, I heard something I'd never heard from a demon before. "Fear. You dare command us. You are nothing, you are." Its voice faltered, weakened. I pressed harder, praying with every ounce of faith I had, calling on the power of God, the authority of Christ. Sarah's body began to shake, violently, but this was different from before. This wasn't the demons fighting. This was the demons being expelled. Black smoke began to pour from Sarah's mouth, not metaphorically, literal smoke, dark, thick, swirling. The cameras captured it. You can see it clearly. Smoke coming from her mouth and nose, rising toward the ceiling, gathering in a cloud. I continued the prayers, commanding the demons to depart, to leave this place, to never return. The smoke swirled faster, the room shook, and then with a sound like a thunderclap, the smoke imploded, disappeared, just gone. Sarah collapsed, her eyes rolled back. For a moment I thought we'd lost her. But then her eyes opened, clear, focused, and for the first time in months they were hers. "Father," she whispered, "is it over?" I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "Yes, child, it's over, you're free." Epilogue, aftermath and analysis. Sarah Mitchell made a full recovery, physically and mentally. She has no memory of most of what happened during the possession, just fragments, impressions. She returned to university, graduated with honors. She's now in graduate school, studying to become a therapist. She wants to help people who have experienced trauma. She knows what happened to her. We've shown her the footage. She's seen the evidence, and she's brave enough to let us share it with the world. Why? Because she wants people to understand, to believe, to be careful. "I opened a door," she told me. "I invited them in. I didn't mean to. I didn't believe any of it was real, but it was, and it almost destroyed me." The footage we captured has been reviewed by experts, neuroscientists, physicists, psychologists, linguists. They can't explain it. The levitation defies physics. The languages Sarah spoke include at least 3 dead languages she'd never studied. The physical manifestations, the black vomit, the burns from holy water, the smoke, have no scientific explanation. Skeptics claim it's elaborate fakery, CGI, actors, a hoax. But we've released the raw footage, unedited from multiple cameras, continuous recording. There are no cuts, no breaks, no opportunity for trickery. Forensic video analysts have examined every frame. They confirm no tampering, no manipulation. What you see is what the cameras recorded. So I'll let you decide. Watch the footage, look at the evidence, draw your own conclusions. But I'll tell you what I know, what I witnessed with my own eyes. Evil is real, demons are real, possession is real. And if you're not careful, it can happen to you. Priest's expert analysis. Now let me explain, from a theological and practical perspective, what you've just seen. Demonic possession occurs in stages. Understanding these stages is crucial to recognizing and combating it. Stage 1, infestation. This is when demonic entities first make their presence known. Objects move. Strange sounds occur. There's a feeling of being watched. Sarah experienced this in the days after the Ouija board session. Infestation is the demon testing boundaries, seeing how strong your spiritual defenses are. Many possessions can be stopped at this stage through prayer, blessed objects, and spiritual discipline. Stage 2, oppression. The entity begins to attack the person directly. Physical symptoms appear: depression, anxiety, violent thoughts, sleep disturbances. Sarah's loss of time, her personality changes, her voices, these were all signs of oppression. During oppression, the demon is trying to weaken the person's will, to create openings for deeper possession. Stage 3, possession. This is full demonic control. The entity can take over the person's body at will, speak through them, move them, use their strength. Sarah reached full possession when the three entities gained complete control. The levitation, the languages, the supernatural strength, these are classic signs. How possession occurs. Possession requires an invitation. Demons cannot simply take over a person. There must be an opening. This can be dabbling in the occult, Ouija boards, seances, dark rituals. These are literal invitations. Extreme trauma. Sometimes severe trauma creates spiritual vulnerability. Voluntary invitation, deliberately seeking demonic power or knowledge. Generational curses. Sometimes possession runs in families if ancestors engaged in dark practices. Signs of possession. Speaking languages never learned, especially ancient or dead languages. Supernatural knowledge, knowing hidden information. Superhuman strength, far beyond normal human capability. Violent aversion to sacred objects, crucifixes, holy water, blessed items. Physical manifestations, levitation, contortion, strange substances. Multiple personalities, distinct entities claiming to be demons. Why exorcism works. Exorcism is not magic. It's not about the words themselves. It's about the authority those words carry. When a priest performs an exorcism, he's not acting on his own authority. He's acting on the authority of Christ. The demons don't fear the priest. They fear what the priest represents. This is why the priest must be spiritually strong, must be in a state of grace, must have genuine faith. Without that, the exorcism fails. Protection against possession. How do you protect yourself? Several ways. Avoid occult practices. Never use Ouija boards, never attend seances, never dabble in dark magic. Maintain spiritual health, regular prayer, attendance at religious services, sacraments. Keep blessed objects, crosses, medals, holy water in your home. Stay morally grounded. Sin creates spiritual weakness and vulnerability. Be vigilant if you experience symptoms. Seek help immediately. Final thoughts. I know some of you watching this still don't believe. You think there's a rational explanation, that this is all psychology or fraud or mass hysteria. That's your right. I'm not here to force anyone to believe. But I ask you to consider this. What if you're wrong? What if evil is real and you're unprepared for it? I've seen too much to doubt. I've witnessed things that science cannot explain. I've looked into the eyes of demons and seen pure, conscious evil. Sarah Mitchell was lucky. We caught her possession early enough. We had the footage to prove what was happening. We had the resources and support to help her. But many others aren't so lucky. Many suffer in silence. Many are dismissed as mentally ill and never receive the spiritual help they need. That's why we're sharing this footage, not to frighten you, but to educate you, to prepare you. Because the spiritual war is real, And whether you believe in it or not, you're part of it. Stay vigilant, stay faithful, and never ever invite darkness into your life. May God protect you all. End.